Hello, YouTube. So I mentioned I've been using three different apps to navigate the transit system here. And I did mention that there's kind of an unofficial app, which has been helpful. That seems to give me the most ready access to the three transit maps for the system here. The other one is the TriMet app, which is awful. It's called Hop. And the other one's actually Google Maps. Anyway, date and time. It's 11:02 a.m. Sunday, March 27th, 2022. I am at the Beaverton Transit Center, and I've talked about transit centers in some of my videos in Phoenix about transit in Phoenix and just how generally kind of useless they are. This transit center is a good example, and in one of so far three that I've used. It's a prime example of how a transit center should be. For starters, at this bus stop here, there's a screen, and there's 5 different routes that leave from here: 52, 53, 76, 78, and 88. Now, I found out I needed to use the 78. That I found out by using Google Maps. That's the other app I've been using. I finally figured out how to use the bus and transit integration in Google Maps. People have told me about it before, and I've always not messed with it just because I was already using the Valley Metro app, and the Valley Metro app integration is way better than it's just way better than the using Google Maps. But Google Maps seems to be the most functional thing here. Anyway, let me double check here. So yeah, 78 is the bus I'm going on. It leaves at 11:16. So I've got about 13 minutes to kill here. Not bad. So what the hell? I think I'll give you all a tour of the Beaverton Transit Center. As you see, there's numerous buses coming and going, and numerous buses waiting as well. I do find it interesting that the Beaverton Transit Center is outside of downtown Beaverton. There is a train station in downtown Beaverton, but it doesn't have the service that this has. And my guess is probably there just wasn't enough land available to make this affordable there. And there was here, so here it is. To get from here, and probably downtown Beaverton isn't really that much of a destination anyway. So, but to get to downtown Beaverton from here, just hop on the train, and it's the blue, I believe it's the blue line that goes, it's the blue line is the only one that goes further west from here on into, dang, I keep forgetting the name of the town that's west of Beaverton, which is, in my understanding, bigger than Beaverton. Hang on, I'm pulling it up on Google Maps. On my other phone. Oh, no, I'm not, because my other phone has no service right now, and I forgot to tether it to this one's hotspot. Whoops. And speaking of this one's hotspot, I'm down to about 30% power, and I was unable to charge it last night because of the charging port problem that I'm trying to take care of right now. So this is interesting. TriMet Bike and Ride. I noticed this at one of the other transit centers as I was riding out. So I've shown it some of the places where there's bike racks, and on those bike racks were locks that had been abandoned when bikes had been stolen in ways that involved leaving the lock behind. So yeah, like bike racks at transit centers, generally speaking, not very secure. And it looks like to a certain degree Portland has solved this problem with this. Yeah, this is no, it looks like he's got that taken apart to lock it that way. Hopefully it'll be there when he gets back. So we got this thing here, TriMet Bike and Ride. Secure, I'll try to get it so that you can read it without just seeing the reflection there. Secure enclosed bike parking with key card access. How does it work? You get a bike link key card, insert card, follow the prompts on the screen, park your bike, and rental. Insert your card and get your bike. Rates: weekdays 3 cents per hour, weekend and evenings 1 cent per hour. One-time fee of $5 charged to activate the key card. Bikes left for more than 14 days will be impounded. That's strikes me as pretty damn reasonable for a secure place to your bike. This is interesting. We got a Beaverton Transit Center area bike routes. It shows all the different bus routes that service Beaverton Transit Center. I think that, it's my understanding, the ones that are in a white circle are service only during peak hours. I mentioned in a few videos back that that's a thing here, which seems really weird to me, but hey, if it works for them, it works for them. Yeah, I see lots of bike routes shown here. Yeah, there's lots of bike routes everywhere. Of course, the quality of a bike route is different things. Sometimes it's just paint in a lane on the side of the road, which I'm not a big fan of. It's disappointing though. Temporarily down for service, and a pretty shoddy sign. And yeah, the screen is dead. So, wow. I'm sorry for the people who have their bikes locked in there. So yeah, nice concept, but it does seem to have its flaws and not be working. So that sucks. There goes a train pulling out of here. Well, from what I've seen, that's a service you can't rely on, so that's a little disappointing. And that's the first one I've actually walked over to look at. So, again, same kind of thing as the last transit center I was at. Train tracks running on obviously what was obviously previous freight rail. Easements. I think are a quick drop for people dropping people off. If you're taking an Uber to the bus or to the train, or you got a friend dropping you off at the train, it's nice to see that they have a proper place for that. Not sure if there's a parking ride here. I do see parking spots, but a lot of times it's short-term parking and not a park and ride. So, yeah. Field operations supervisors only and 10-minute parking. So, yeah. Oh, no, this is interesting. Zipcar. I've heard of this. And I might try that while I'm here. Zipcars live here. Join at zipcar.com. Yeah, it's basically car rental, but you rent it by the hour. Car sharing. I've heard of it and I've never tried it before, so I might have to try that out before I leave, being that I have a valid driver's license and no shortage of credit for that sort of stuff. We have another spot across the track where they got the same kind of cage to stop people from biking fast through it. Minor annoyance for pedestrians, but yeah, it's better than being mowed down by bicycles. So here's the train platform. The train I got off of actually was on the track, not these two tracks here, but the track on that you see on the other side. And it was kind of neat when it dropped me off. Doors open on both sides. I could get out either direction, and was able to walk right over to where all the buses are. There is a train that services here, which is not a MAX train. That's what they call the light rail here. And I forget what the hell it's called, but it goes way south. I checked the schedules. It doesn't run very frequently, but it's a commuter train, a local commuter train that services towns south of the Portland area. I do find it odd that it doesn't go directly into Portland, that instead it comes in here to the Beaverton Transit Center. But I'm sure it's running on abandoned freight rail easements, and that probably just worked out best for it. Whereas the freight lines that run into Portland are very much busy and still in use. And I'd like to get some video of that. That's something I find really fascinating. All right, here comes the train. So there's two MAX lines that service this, the red and the blue. The red is the one that I came in on from the airport, and I've been using the red a lot. It's kind of funny. A lot of different train corridors have multiple routes that run on them, and this is no exception. Now that one says Beaverton Transit Center as its destination, so that is definitely a red line, because the red line ends at the Beaverton Transit Center and the blue line goes on past the Beaverton Transit Center. From this point all the way into downtown Portland, it doesn't matter if you're going into Portland. You can take whichever train shows up first. So instead of having to wait every 15 minutes, in theory, it's It's less. I don't want to say every 12 and a half minutes because it's not, even. But instead of waiting 15 minutes, you get to wait less than 15 minutes, which is a good thing. So there's the rail system map, and of course it's very stylized and not to scale. This area here is like central Portland, and this is the outlying area, which is much larger than central Portland. But it gives you the idea of like where the stops and stuff are. Like these stops here that you see in central Portland are all just a couple blocks apart from each other, whereas these ones here in the outlying western area, you are here. They're several miles. Most of them are several miles apart. Hillsborough, that's the town I couldn't remember the name of. Hillsborough, that's where it ends, going further west. And so my daughter's boyfriend works. Is at Intel in Hillsborough. Anyway, this is the commuter rail I mentioned. It goes down to Wilsonville. So I forget the name of the town I'm headed to today. It's a small town. Most cell phone repair shops are closed on Sunday. Googled cell phone repair shops. Just had Google show me stuff near where I was at my daughter's appointment, and always trying to avoid corporate-owned ones because I've generally had bad experiences with those. And always looking for an independent one that had some positive reviews. And today, of course, the biggest criteria was being open today. And the only one I found, it's got a few sketchy reviews. It's got some positive reviews. I'm willing to take my chance, or at least check this place out. But apparently, it is a guy that works at an Asian fish market. This should be an adventure. But he seems like the kind of person I want working on my cell phone. So, and I'm not really asking for much. Most likely, just have him get him with a really small tool and clean out my port, and probably sell me another USB-C charging cable. Hello, Goose. There's geese all over the place out here in Oregon. They're chill. We're just hanging out at the transit center. Of course, if I get much closer, it might not stay chill, so I'm going to keep on walking. So many bus platforms, so many different routes, going to places I don't know where they are. 20 to Gresham. I keep seeing things that say Gresham via Pico City Center, wherever that is. That's interesting. That one says drop off only. So it says it's a route and it's going someplace, but it says drop off only at the stop. The stop says drop off only. Yeah, so many bus platforms, so many buses, and I do like here, the transit centers in Phoenix are pretty much useless because hardly any buses go to them, and most of the routes just go down the respective streets. Whereas here, routes kind of wind all over the place, and a lot of that has to do with the street layouts of the Portland area versus Phoenix. Now, Phoenix is on a pretty rigid grid. And the street system, like for somebody who drives, the street system is a no-brainer. Like if you can't figure out the Phoenix street system, you're really not trying. Whereas here, it's pretty chaotic. It's a lot to learn. I'm enjoying learning it, and at this point, I'm confident I know it better than my daughter does. In fact, as I'm talking and stuff about her, I'm getting the feeling that after her couple weeks of living in her car ended, and her boyfriend got here and they got an apartment, she hasn't really left it much. In fact, she kind of told me that she's not really happy here because she just feels like the people here are jerks, and she hasn't met anybody and is not meeting anyone. And I told her, it's like, well, you're not gonna meet anybody. She hasn't rode any of the transit here at all. I said, well, you're not gonna meet anybody alone in your car. And her thing is, well, I'm 19, so I can't go into many bars. This might be fun if I was 21, but it sucks because I'm 19. And I remember being 19 and living on my own in Denver, and I met so many people. I had such a huge circle of friends and stuff, and more than I can keep track of. And a lot of times I just kind of characterize myself as a sociable loner, because for the most part I did the same kind of thing I do now. I just wandered around and explored and checked things out. But when I wanted to be social, I went to coffee shops. That was the place to go when I wasn't old enough to go into a bar. Yeah, and there's got to be a scene now. I mentioned that to her, and she said they've all been closed because of COVID, and that I don't know. They do seem to be open now, though. So this is interesting. This shows different stop IDs and buses. Apparently, some of the different platforms are grouped together into the same stop ID. I do like that the different stops here do seem to have actual schedules posted, comparable to the way they used to list them in the bus book in Phoenix before they went completely to the app. As you see, the routes can be kind of complicated as far as like where they go and all the different streets they run. And this is a more simple one than most of them I've seen. TV Highway. My daughter mentioned that road today. I can't remember in what context she mentioned it in though. Anyway, I've yet to find an app that actually shows me these physical schedules like this, because these make sense to me. Some of the routes that I've been using on a regular basis, when I've found them posted like that, I've taken pictures of them and just stored them on my phone. But I do like these, like when I get to the transit center, just departures from this platform and what time they're going to show up. But yeah, it's nice how the bigger transit centers, how you can. Oh, I sure hope that wasn't my bus. I think it might have been. Oh yeah, that was most definitely my bus. 78. Oh fuck me. Oh man, walking around talking to myself, missed my damn bus. I think that's the one I wanted. Hang on, I'm gonna have. Thanks for joining me. I gotta stop this and figure out what the hell I just did. I might be stuck here for another 30 minutes. Oh, go me.